mind this morning. For some of us, have we planned enough for our retirement?
You look guilty, but let's find out about it when the time comes. Will you be able to afford to retire, partner? Well, a new survey shows that about 41% of the 11.9 million economically active South Africans have no retirement plan in place, and more than 40% of women have no investments or savings of any kind. Well, Stephen Nathan, the CEO of 10X Investments, which conducted that survey, joins us now in our Cape Town studio. And Stephen, good morning, and thanks for your time this morning. I suppose the question is, why? Why is it that and that's quite a big percentage of economically active South Africans don't have a retirement plan?
So I think South Africa is not unique, but I think we are worse than other countries where for younger people it's not a priority. It's difficult to think so far in the future, but where South Africa is quite unique is that there's almost no government provision at a social grant level when you retire, whereas in other countries there is some kind of safety net. So people are not aware of the issue until it's too late. And we also think that the industry has complicated retirement investing a lot. So when things are complicated, people tend to disengage and put it off for a later date.
So when you say there's no government support, what about pensions and what pensioners actually get? Or are you saying that only because you would get that if you were, say, for example, a teacher in the old days?
So what we have in South Africa is what's called an old age grant. So if you are beyond 60, then you get a grant. It's not a pension, and that is about 1,600 Rand per month. So for most people, that is woefully inadequate. If you look at the US, there's Social Security, which typically replaces about 40% of your final salary. And in Europe, there's also a state pension fund. So for South Africans that are outside the government, as you say, the government has a pension fund, which is a defined pension fund which guarantees a pension if you work for the government for a certain amount of years. But for the private sector, there isn't that. So the onus is on employers to voluntarily put something in place, and then for employees to either participate in that fund, or if there is no fund, to save for themselves on their own, for example, with a retirement annuity.
So, Stephen, you say many people actually don't do this because it's so complicated, so many things to think about. And I suppose part of that is wondering, do I get a better deal somewhere else? Who do I trust? Is this person actually doing what's right for me? How do we uncomplicate it?
So you're exactly right. So in South Africa, only 6% of people actually retire with adequate retirement provision. And the scary thing is that 25 years ago, the results were exactly the same. So the industry and society has not improved at all in 25 years. So the system is failing people, and we need to do something about it. And what we think at 10X Investments, the reason we did the survey is just to educate people and make them aware of this crisis. So, for example, what we found is that only 1 in 5 people start to save for their retirement when they start working. But if you defer saving for 10 years, then it becomes almost impossible to catch up because you've lost 10 years of saving and the compounded impact you could have on those savings. Whereas 50% of people said that had they known, they would have preferred to have started saving earlier. So a lot of this is really educating people, but at a simple and engaging level rather than scare tactics, where what we tend to see in the media is that, the rand is weakened or South Africa's in recession, get all your money offshore. And these kind of scare tactics do not engage people.
Well, Stephen, it is a bit of I suppose, the timing couldn't be worse to start to encourage people to actually put some stuff away for retirement and sort of join part of a fund, because that would require putting away a certain amount of money. And at the moment, with our economic challenges, with things like fuel and food prices going up, how are people, if anybody wants to start this, how do you possibly go about doing it? Where do you find that money to do it?
So the best time to start saving is today, and you should save a small amount. So what we recommend is that ultimately you should be saving 15% of your total salary. As you say, if you're at 0%, given the current squeeze on our disposable income, you're not going to get there in one step. So what you should start to do is save 2 or 3%. Save whatever you can, and then commit to save more tomorrow. Say, when I get my next salary increase, I'm going to take 1 or 2% of that increase and start to put it away. So you've got to get a foot in the door. We have to be much more disciplined on our expenditure. So we need to look at our expenses and say, well, are there areas that I can save, that I can sacrifice? So, for example, it could be not buying a car that is as expensive, or downgrading the clothes, some of the clothes that you buy. But if you don't take charge now, then you're going to suffer later. And although the economy is depressed and the stock market is a bit depressed, it's actually a good time to buy, because your savings, you're actually getting far more value for your savings now than you would be if the stock market was high. So there's always some kind of silver lining to these issues.
Right, thanks very much there, Stephen Nathan from 10X Investments. He's in our Cape Town studio. So, partner, I'm going to be asking the team that we put aside 10 Rand for you every month, all of us, towards your retirement annuity, your pension plan.
Thanks for your kindness.
Yeah, anytime.
Partner, thank you. But in other